You know, let's just start talking because this is how I do my wrestling videos. It's whatever at this point. All right, so Malik.
What's up?
Um, wait, hold on. Okay, so guys,
Oh crap, my headset ain't. I ain't got my headset. I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
nah, you all you gotta do is just be on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the heads. I got the mic close to the phone, so people are able to hear you. But guys, so we want to talk about what is the main problem with AEW. We're also gonna do what's the main problem with WWE. Now, as you can see, WrestleMania, WWE just got the WrestleMania moment, and AEW had Ring of Honor. But we want to figure out what are the problems with AEW and WWE. But right now, we're gonna do AEW. Um, what do you think are like one of the problems with AEW? Just name like three topics, if you will.
Mm, Three topics wrong with AEW. The ranking system. Um, the over reliance of doing stuff at the dispense of crapping on WWE and not really just focusing on their product. And 'cause I have like two more, but I gotta make sure the next one is like the
You
real,
get
real.
you can add the two more.
Okay, so I would say honestly, like the over like putting too much talent on the product to the point where it's people that everybody gets hyped for, and they just and they're on main show Dynamite and occasionally Rampage for a few weeks, and all of a sudden they just go to dark. Um, Also the TNT Championship, how it's like their channel isn't TNT anymore, but they still have the TNT Championship,
Yeah, yeah, that's
and
one of
it's
the things that I didn't like. I'm like, bro, like you're gonna make it TBS, make
yeah,
it.
and it's being held by a dude that nobody cares about. So it's like it's kind of weird. Like it's just being held by Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, who especially Ethan Page, who just loses all the time, and he's part of that stable. And it's like
Well,
you got Scorpio Sky being like holding that championship. I feel like that's the championship that you can give. Like with Wardlow, for instance. Like if you would have had Wardlow win it whenever he was supposed to, and then you could do MJF and Wardlow have a program for the mid card title. That elevates the championship instead of just having it just sitting around the waist of Scorpio Sky.
all right, so well, you already fixed the third problem. I was gonna say we gotta ask the problems and tell them how they can fix it. But in my opinion about that, I realized like, bro, he's like number one, he's the first person to hold the AEW tag team and singles championship. Two, he's the first ever black African American title holder. And
Yeah.
three, they can't really. And three, Scorpio Sky signed a 5 year deal not too long ago. So Tony Khan gonna push his ass.
I get that. I get that. And the African American point, the one I like the most with that, what's stopping Keith Lee from winning that championship? And you
Oh,
could do Keith Lee. You could do Keith Lee versus Powerhouse Hobbs for the championship. You could do Keith Lee against Ricky Starks. You could do Keith Lee against basically anybody on the roster that matches. There are legitimately like three or probably even four African American dudes on the roster
right.
that you could
It
that you
keep
could push more than Scorpio Sky.
it keeps
Like
it keeps leads like, but yeah, you gotta like it's a business at the end of the day. Like you know you're gonna have Scorpio Sky for a long time, so why not just use them now? Like how they're using Cody and like how they're using like Chad Gable and all them in WWE.
yeah.
But
But you know how it goes down though. They're gonna as soon as they sign that new deal, they get pushed very fast, like immediately, and then they're doing nothing within the next couple months. Because I get the whole like make it like give them little small stories here and there until they hit the big time later on. But what I've learned about wrestling over the years, injuries happen at any given moment. When you have something that you feel like it could be hot, just go ahead and just do it. Like just go ahead and do it. Like prime example, the way they booked Daniel Bryan, that is perfect. Just throw him in the ring with Kenny Omega immediately, because you don't know how long people are going to be in their business for. Immediately put him in the world title picture against Hangman Page. Like you do, like you got to do what you got to do. Same with Samoa Joe. He's fighting freaking Minoru Suzuki next week in his second match in AEW for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. Like when you got something and it's like hot, like it's a hot commodity, go ahead and just push it to the absolute moon if you really need to. But the thing about the Scorpio Sky thing, you could tell by him signing that new contract, he just got the championship just for now. And then as soon as he drops it, you'll never see him pick up another championship again. Because just because of the way their faction is set up, because Ethan Page loses all the time. They have a terrible manager, and Scorpio Sky is like the only shining light in the group, and he needs to kind of like break away.
Right. Well, you know what they could do, bro, and with Scorpio Skies and Ethan Page, and this is only if they really do it. 'Cause I don't know who's gonna be the next tag team champions after Jungle Boy. I thought it was gonna be Santana or Ortiz, but it looks like it's gonna be FCR. But Young Bucks, it's gonna be a little while before they win it back again. Um,
Yeah.
but I feel like what they can do, they can put Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky as the tag team champion.
They could.
Have Christian Cage turn on Jungle Boy and Jurassic Express, and then have him join them instead to make him look more legitimate. Cause it look like just babysitting. He look like a soccer dad just helping his kids out.
Absolutely.
And if people compare,
And their faction doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They have all these random UFC fighters that pop in, and it's like, I'm like, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky aren't like mixed martial artists or UFC. They just don't match with the Dan Lambert thing. Because Dan Lambert seems American top team. He's a UFC guy.
right? They have that blonde chick with them.
She's a UFC fighter too.
Yeah, I know. That's why they was gonna try to like build it over her.
I
Um,
think I think like with that Ethan Page and Scorpio. I mean, honestly, I think the I mean, of course, this is like fantasy booking. But I think the thing I would like the absolute most that makes everybody come out looking the greatest is Scorpio Sky turning on Ethan Page, and then he gets beat up, and then Josh Alexander come out, and then they form the North again. Because I actually liked Ethan Page and Josh Alexander as a tag team. But that's fantasy booking, and I don't know. I don't know what the current status of the Impact and AEW relationship is. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. They can't do. They can't. It's fun. It's funny. It's funny how Impact. They got New Japan. They got Triple A and they got Ring of Honor, but it's like they were able to form a relationship with them. But it's like when it comes to AEW, it's a little rocky. I don't know. I feel like Tony Khan. I feel like Tony Khan. He like 40% business and 60% in his feelings.
Yeah.
But okay, let's talk about your second idea, cause I don't want to get too off topic. Your second, what was the second thing? What was the second problem? Cause you said, um, I forgot what was your last one, but you did say that. Okay, so what's number one, number two, number three again? My fault.
So I said the ranking. So what we were just talking about was the one with the TNT Championship. That was 3, and then 2 was the problem with signing way too much talent too fast, and then it gets to the point where they just end up being on dark, or they don't have a whole lot to do, and it's like the immediate pop of everybody being like, oh my gosh, they're here, and then after like a few months, they're kind of just not doing anything, and you could tell.
It's like the debuts.
Yeah, they're starting to fall more into this like WWE trap, because I love like both products. I love AEW and WWE, but they have this thing where like you could tell who feels important and who isn't important, and it's just like they're slowly creeping more into that category. And it's almost like when you put people up against certain people, you're showing how much you care about them. Like they treat certain new arrivals a certain way, they treat other arrivals a certain kind of way. You can tell they give a crap about Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson by the way he came in. You can tell they give a crap about Samoa Joe by the way he came in and what he's been, the impact he's going to do moving forward, because he's going to face Minoru Suzuki and probably win next week. He'll probably win that championship next week. But then, like, on the flip side, you have some talent who just come in and they're just there. Like, they just kind of they're doing something, but it's just kind of nothing at the same time, which is kind of what I feel when I see Keith Lee and all them against Team Taz, because it's like, I mean, I get Team Taz is like, some people like them. I really don't think the group makes a whole lot of sense. And when I see people go,
I like Hobbs. I like Powerhouse Hobbs.
But that's the thing. I like both of them as individuals. I don't like them as a team, though.
Oh, gotcha.
Like I don't like them as a team. They don't make any sense being together. Because think about it. When you had the group with Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs, I thought that makes more sense than Ricky Starks. Because Ricky Starks doesn't. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Like Ricky Starks is like he has the personality of like the Rock and Nation of Domination. He doesn't really need to be part of that group. And the thing is, what the problem is, it's like Powerhouse Hobbs isn't like a henchman. He's supposed to be like that mid-card heel, like top guy type deal. But Ricky Starks needs to just be doing his own thing, but it is confusing because you don't even know if Hook is even part of the group. So
Yeah,
the group is
cause Hook is like almost like a baby face, but he ain't.
exactly. But so you don't. So the group doesn't really have like an identity. So seeing Keith Lee and like Swerve Scott go against them, it kind of showing like, AEW kind of just doesn't really know what to do with these guys right now. Because what's going to happen after Keith Lee beats them? Because they're not going to beat Keith Lee. So what's going to happen after he wins?
You know what I think what should happen?
Right.
But damn, bro, I don't know if WWE gonna, I don't know if AEW gonna fucking do this or not. All right, here's what I'm thinking. Keith Lee beats Ricky Starks for the FTW champion. Keith Lee only holds the title for like 2 weeks to a month, and then transitions to Powerhouse Hobbs. They make it to the point where it's gonna be a last man standing match between Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee. Then Keith Lee hosts the then Powerhouse Hobbs hosts the title. Ricky Starks is kind of jealous, and then you get Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs later down the line.
Yeah. Is that do you think that's interesting though?
Yeah, as long as you pay attention, you gotta be. And I hate that. I'm not gonna say I hate to say this, but do you know that 24% of black people watch Rampage, and 60% watch Dynamite?
16%.
Yes, 13% actually.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, huh, why is that? So I started to watch Rampage. I'm like, oh, they got Keith Lee and Swerve Scott on there a lot. So, like, Swerve Scott always be on fucking Rampage. So, I think that's really just his show. You know, everybody got their own show. When you think of Ricochet, what do you think of?
The SmackDown?
When you think of Shaman, what do you think of?
SmackDown?
When you think of... what's his name? When you think of the Young Buck, what do you think of?
AEW?
AEW...
Rampage, right?
No fucking okay, back in the pandemic days, Dynamite. Okay, when you think of Chris Jericho, what do you think of?
Dynamite.
When you think of Moose, what do you think of?
Impact.
Right. So there's certain shows that people can be on. Okay, now we think of QT Marshall, what do you think of?
Dark.
Exactly. There's certain even this Sakura girl, like every time I think of her, if you try and watch her, you be like, oh, okay. When I watch Ruby Soho, I'll be thinking like, oh, I could just watch her on Dynamite. I could watch her on Dark. You know, she hasn't been on Rampage or Dynamite in the past. No. When I think of Jay Lethal, I think of fucking Dark.
Because, I think what you just said about the Ruby Soho is a perfect example of what we were kind of talking about. It's like when people sign, and it's like you can kind of tell how they feel about that person by how they treat them while they're there. And it sucks too because it's getting to that point where like when you see someone on Dark that like switched promotions or whatever, you're kind of your immediate thought is like, damn, like it's just like, oh, okay, and it just kind of happens. Like it's just like, oh, he's here now. Like I remember when I seen when I was sitting there watching it, it was weird. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me when I found out Thunder Rosa was challenging Britt Baker for the championship. But then I seen her have a match on Dark. I was kind of like, huh? And it's like it kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense because there's no progression. But it's weird because you know which stars you're not going to see on Dark. You're not going to see Jade Cargill wrestling on Dark anytime soon. You're not going to see Chris Jericho.
You're not going to see CM Punk.
Yeah, you're not going to see CM Punk. You're not going to see MJF on Dark.
You're going to see you might see Christian Cage. You know, you might see him. Just for like 1 or 2 appearances.
But you know you're gonna see Frankie Kazarian. You know you're gonna see Sonny Kiss. You know you're gonna see like these people who are kind of just doing a whole lot of nothing.
Right.
And then maybe possibly you'll see Isaiah Swerve Scott, possibly.
And then they got ROH2, and I don't know how that's gonna go.
Yeah, honestly, you never know.
Right. All right. For the next. Our next topic, let's talk about the ranking system, and then we'll go with my opinion.
The ranking system it just doesn't need to really be a thing. That's that thing that AEW is doing again to make themselves separate from WWE. Like it's just kind of like okay, we're gonna make it more like this. We're gonna do it more like this, and it's like just I know you want to be different, but just keep it simple. Because you look at the ranking system sometimes, and it'll be a dude that just is a jobber, but he's stacking up W's, and then he makes it to the top of the rankings for some reason because the rankings don't really make any sense. And then he gets a title match way too soon and then loses because it's too predictable. So it kind of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like I remember before Adam Cole beat Jay Lethal, they were talking about Jay Lethal being like a number one guy or whatever. But I'm like, Jay Lethal's been losing. He lost to Sammy Guevara when he first came in. He lost on Dark. Like he lost to Adam Cole. So how is he number one in the rankings? Like I don't understand the rankings.
He been winning on AEW Dark like a bunch of matches. They call him the AEW Dark Legend.
And it doesn't make any sense when you got someone like Adam Cole, who basically not main events, but he's semi-main eventing or main eventing almost every pay-per-view he's been a part of. There should be no way Jay Lethal's ever ahead of him in the rankings because the rankings don't make a lot of sense. And then the same with like Dante Martin. Like Dante Martin was getting a certain amount of W's on Dark and Elevation, and then all of a sudden after like the last pay-per-view, he gets a title match against Hangman Page, and it's like, dude, he's not going to win. So why is this even a thing?
And the thing is about that title match is that he was the first person that was like the startup of the show. That wasn't no main event. Who main evented that night? I think it was Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Skies too. So yeah, I can totally agree about that ranking system, bro. That's oh my god. I just be looking at it sometimes. I just be looking at it, see who's gonna fucking win. And I don't see if I see somebody. I remember I see Orange Cassidy for like the past like fucking month just being at least on top 5. I'm like, damn, bro. I seen Scorpio Skies in top 5 too. So when he was saying like, oh, I never lost, haven't lost in a year. And, you know, I mean, like, damn, we haven't seen your ass on Dynamite, but I guess Dark counts. I don't know. I guess it's just to build up certain people to a certain status. I mean, shit. I mean, some people just do it just to get paid. I mean, look at Franco Del Sol, for example. This man is like 3 and like 49. Some shit like that.
Yeah, but if he gets 5 W's in a row, he could move up to like top 5 in the rankings. So it's like, that's where the ranking system just kind of. I feel like just like keep it simple, like every other promotion does. You have a number one contenders match, and whoever wins that match or who is building up momentum challenges the champion. Like that's just kind of how it works, you know. Like it's like you got to make. And I hate to compare promotions. But just do it the way NXT like always did it throughout the prime, 2017, 2018. You have a new guy come up from the Indies. He has a bunch of squash matches, or he has like 1 or 2, maybe 3 squash matches.
That's what Dark is for. I mean, that's what they were doing with Warlord.
Wait, hold on. He gets into a nice program or something. Same with Aleister Black. Perfect example. Aleister Black first came to the company. He faced Kurt Hawkins. He faced Raul Mendoza. He wasn't really doing a whole lot of anything. Oh, and then Hideo Itami comes out. Okay, now he has a real feud. He faces Hideo Itami. He beats Hideo Itami. Then the Velveteen Dream comes up. He beats the Velveteen Dream. Then the Undisputed Era attack him. You're like, oh, Adam Cole, he's got all this hope. Who knows? He might lose. Oh, Aleister Black beats Adam Cole, and then he wins the world title. Like, keep it simple. You don't really need a ranking system to know who's the top guy and who isn't. Fans pay attention. They're like, you know what? That guy's been racking up a few W's. Who's going to, like, when is he going to face somebody? Like, for example, right now, if you watch the product with no ranking system, there is no reason CM Punk couldn't be number one contender because you got to think. He faced MJF. He beat MJF. MJF's the only person that's beaten Punk the entire time he's been in AEW. But before that, Punk was on a winning streak, and he most recently beat MJF. MJF's in a program with Wardlow. So the main event picture after Hangman Page beats Adam Cole, if you throw away the whole ranking system, at Double or Nothing, you will probably see Hangman Page versus CM Punk. You do not need a ranking system to tell someone who should main event a pay-per-view. I truly don't believe that. I don't think that, like you just said, Fuego del Sol can win 7 matches back-to-back on Dark, and he randomly ranks up number 1. So after Hangman Page,
let me not use Fuego del Sol. Let me use let's use Jay Lethal. We're gonna use Jay Lethal at the example.
It could be anybody. It could be anybody who has a bad record and they just get a whole bunch of W's. Like, for example, Jake Hager. Jake Hager did the same thing with Mox. Whenever Moxley first won the championship, they were like, man, Jake Hager's been getting a lot of W's lately. Let's look at the ranking. The rankings don't make any sense. So you have Jake Hager, who is a henchman in that group, going against Jon Moxley in the main event of Dynamite, and you know he's not going to win. So it's like, what is the purpose of this? It doesn't solve anything. The ranking system just overcomplicates things. It's like you need to keep it simple. Like, we watch the product, we know who won. If you have Keith Lee in this feud with Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, and he comes out of the receiving end with W's on both sides, what is the natural translation of the way things go? He moves up. Then you can have him in a program against an upper mid card guy. You can have him go against Daniel Bryan or Jon Moxley, or you can have him challenge for a championship. You don't need a ranking system to tell me that.
Okay, yeah, you're right. There's only one problem we have right now.
What?
AEW fans are a bit delusional, and not the smart. And I'm not even talking about the smart kind. I'm talking about so they're gonna be complaining about certain wins too. So, for example, right? Let's use the AEW. Let's use the AEW example and a WWE example, right? Like, for example, I heard people were complaining about the Wheeler Yuta and Jon Moxley match. That Jon Moxley beat Wheeler Yuta. It's Jon Moxley. He kicked out of 2 paradigm shifts. What do you want him to do? I don't care if he's champion. You gotta bro. That's like.
And it's part of a bigger picture. That's what people need to realize.
That's like Drew McIntyre versus Ricochet, and Ricochet Intercontinental Champion. You think no.
It's part of the bigger picture. Wheeler Yuta, and I think Wheeler Yuta's a champion, but he's not like a champion. He's the ROH pure champion. He's like the third mid card title. It isn't like Jon Moxley beat Jonathan Gresham or something, like the Ring of Honor World Champion, and just beat him randomly. It's part of the bigger picture.
Right.
Wheeler Yuta has been trying to win their approval for the past 3 weeks now, and he's been doing all he can. He's been trying to get approval from everybody. William Regal smacked him in the face and pissed him off. He's been really wanting to be part of that club because he fits in more with them than he does with the best friends. It's a simple, easy story. You look at these guys. You see the Blackpool Combat Club. These guys are like MMA aficionados, but then you got the best friends who are a bunch of goofballs. And so it's like Wheeler Yuta's like, I'm not part of this. This is not me. I want to be a part of this. So him kicking out those paradigm shifts was a bigger story in the sense of, I'm doing this to win your approval, William Regal. And there's nothing about that match that screams either anything besides Wheeler Yuta's going to be. They tried to make a start at Wheeler Yuta, which is good. That should be the main objective of every match with a guy who's on the upper mid card. You're trying to make him a star. There's no bad thing that came out of that.
Right. And
it's not like Jon Moxley beat Hangman Page or something. He beat Wheeler Yuta.
Oh man, I can't wait for that match coming down the line. I heard Jon Moxley was talking a lot of shit, talking about he's a pussy boy or some shit like that.
I don't know if you've been hearing lately, but they've been talking about Jon Moxley. They say his contract expires at the end of next year. I've been seeing him in a lot of weird fantasy booking things. They were talking about him showing up at the Rumble next year.
I could see that. Just
because he's pretty much, and the reason why I can see it too is because he's kind of done everything there is to do in AEW. So it's kind of like at this point he's just having fun. He's just kind of just there.
Right. I heard he's supposed to be in a Blood and Guts match with the Combat Club apparently.
That'd be cool. You could do that. You could do them versus the, you could do that versus the Jericho Appreciation Society somewhere down the line.
Right.
Work that into a thing because I don't think the Blackpool Combat Club is gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be heels for very long. I don't think so. I feel like it's gonna be.
They're tweeners. They're tweeners.
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna come a point where they're full faces. I think so. I think they're all gonna be faces once they get done with this whole story where they build more people up. Because I think they're gonna add one more person to this group because they got Jon Moxley, they got D-Bry, William Regal.
You think they're gonna add a male or a female?
No, it's gonna be a dude. They're gonna get Lee Moriarty in there. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, I thought I heard somebody they were gonna bring this one girl. I forgot who that one girl that's challenging for the TBS champion. That's gonna face Jade Carter.
Marina Shafir.
Yeah, I heard they was gonna try to add her, or that was somebody's idea. I could see it because of her background.
Yeah, I can see it. I don't think it'd be a good fit though, because she's not a good character. She was
Yeah.
in NXT. Remember, she was that stale personality girl who used to be with Shayna Baszler all the time.
Oh. Oh.
She used to be in the UFC, but I don't think she's a big enough character. Like, yeah, I think that group's got John Moxley, Daniel Bryan, and William Regal. They got three of the best
Isn't
characters.
that the, isn't that the point of making the character? Like, building them up and
But
Serena
she's
for.
not. But she's not ready for that though. Like Willard Yuta's good because he's ready. Like he's a ready. He's a ready made. Same with Lee Moriarty. Like these dudes are like they have personality. They have in ring charisma. They just need it to be brought out more. That's it. They just need it brought out more. Marina Shafir needs a lot of work. Like she needs a ton. That's like if you just brought like her being a part of that group is like bringing Braun Breaker up to like Raw and just having him be world champion and cutting promos every week. He needs a lot more work than that. He needs tons of reps. He needs tons of reps. And same with her. Like she can have. She's a perfect example of someone I'm fine with having a whole bunch of squash matches for 9 months on Dark and just cutting promos.
Right.
Just have her
Um.
do that. She don't need to be part of the group. You could do anybody. You could freaking have. You could do Tanara Conti and Sammy Guevara before you even do her. Just to give them some positive reinforcement because everybody's hating on them right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm gonna point out about that. Like, is it like there's people that are hating on them, but then like, it's like at the same time when they go to like meet and greets and stuff, like, oh my god, Sammy and Ty, and then like, and then like when they're on TV, it's like, oh my god, these guys again. Ugh. I'm
I
like,
think it's because of the circumstances of them being together is what people don't like about it. Because I mean, I don't know if you know the full story, but Sammy Guevara was, and I'm gonna just put it in the most simplest way possible. Tanara Conti, from a societal standpoint, looks are subjective. Tanara Conti is a visually more attractive person than the woman that Sammy Guevara was in a relationship with beforehand. But it's just bad timing because Sammy Guevara just broke off his engagement and then he's with Tanara Conti like directly after.
they said they
And it's
broke up
just
in October, but I don't know.
and
I
yeah, they broke up in like October or November, and then now he's with Tanara Conti like a few months later because they started posting each other back in February. I feel like that's kind of like I think that I don't know if that's true though. I don't know if that's the big reason why people don't like them. I don't know, but I don't know.
This man went from defending the TNT champion every week to just now with Tom Conti, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just gonna let it see how it does, cause when I watch, like when you watch, like when Sami Zayn, not Sami Zayn, Sammy Guevara goes to these meet and greet, you'll be like, oh my gosh, Jimmy, yay! And then like when they like, but when they're on TV, it's a whole different story. So I don't know. Hopefully they'll fix that real soon. Um, yeah. Oh, I forgot to bring up the other example about the booking situation with John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. Okay, so this recently happened on SmackDown. Um, what I'm about to say. So with Wheeler Yuta and fuck. Okay, this Friday night on SmackDown, right? Sasha Banks and Naomi Team Bad or whatever, they won the tag team champions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley lost to Sasha Banks in a non-title match, and they're getting a title match next week, right? And this match set up for the whole Edge versus Damian Priest thing. But there are people that are literally complaining that, oh my god, Liv Morgan to beat Sasha Banks. Number one, it's for storytelling purposes. Two, you don't want to make her too weak. And three, don't y'all want new stars? Don't y'all want new stars? Don't y'all want new stars?
It's because people forget that people used to actually lose in the Attitude Era. That's why. I think people don't realize that people actually did lose at one point. I don't understand what's the whole.
I think it's the whole NXT rub when people got pushed to the moon. Cameron Grimes to the moon, like that type of shit. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know though. I think it's kind of simple. Like, just look at the superstars for what they are. Not everybody's supposed to go on a winning streak or be undefeated. I mean, if that was the case, then nobody would ever take L's.
Right.
But that's the thing that's weird about the wrestling community. Like, oh, she shouldn't have lost, but then if you book a DQ finish or a no or a double count out, then you're mad because of the lack of finish. So pick one. Like, pick which one that you want. Or like, for example, like people are like, man, I don't know who's gonna win this match. I don't know who's gonna win this match, and then somebody unexpected wins, then automatically the other person got buried. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
Right.
There's no burial being had for anything. Like I remember people online were doing that too with this Sami Zayn. They're like, "Oh my God, Sami Zayn is buried. He's this, he's that." Like Sami Zayn's character made sense for him to lose that match.
Right.
And it was an insane. And people are forgetting it was an insanely entertaining match. Like they're not even thinking about everything it took to beat Sami Zayn. It took like the whole cast of Jackass, and they had to throw stuff at him. There was a freaking naked dude dancing on him on the ring. We man body slammed and he fell through a table of mousetraps. He got stuck in a mousetrap and got pinned. It was a lot of stuff that he went through in that situation.
Yeah, and two, he's a celebrity, and celebrity are not gonna lose at WrestleMania. Let's just keep it a buck.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm glad that they gave Ricochet the belt, cause you don't want to have Jackass as the goddamn Intercontinental Champion. That's gonna devalue the championship. At least give it to Ricochet and see what he can do and work with this. Rick McMahon was like, okay, so what we're gonna do, man. I don't like you too much, but we can see what you can do. You're the second biggest star on SmackDown. We've been putting you on TV lately, so you're not really buried, all right? Shit. We saw that tweet you put out last year talking about, bro, you need to get on Raw. So, I need to, because people was talking about, hey, bro, are you going to challenge for the U.S. champion? I said, he was like, bro, I had to get on Raw first. Fuck all that. I had to get on Raw. I had to get on the main show first before I can get on challenge for the championship. It was depressing during that pandemic. Jesus. But he was on main event. Had a 5-star match with Mustafa Ali. But yeah, man. Yeah, I feel like Sami Zayn, he's gonna get pushed. They're gonna put him on this Drew feud for a minute, and then he might get back the Intercontinental Championship.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I understand with the whole patience thing, but man, I love me some Drew McIntyre, man. I need them to really do something with that dude. I really feel for him that he went on that run that he had that was all throughout the pandemic, and no one ever really he never got to feel the embrace from the crowd. Just give him something. And that's the thing too. Like that's why I'm so excited about Money in the Bank this year, because the possibilities are endless. Because I don't think anybody's taking the title off of Roman until then. But man, you got 4 legitimate dudes that you could just throw in that match, and they could really bring it home. You got Kevin Owens, you got Cody, you got Seth Rollins, and you got Drew McIntyre. If you put at least 4 of them in that match, you got me sold. And don't even get me started on if they throw Edge and AJ Styles in there too and continue their feud. Man, that could be like probably the best Money in the Bank ladder match ever, especially from like a talent perspective. And then you could throw Damian Priest in there as like Edge's bodyguard to make sure he wins, and then throw Finn in there too as the 8th man. Man, it'd be nuts.
Man, I don't know.
WrestleMania 21 is gonna be like, hey, bro. That Money in the Bank ladder match is gonna be like, hey, bro, hold on a second. Like, hold on a second. You're not better than us.
Whatchamacallit? Man, I feel like AC Henderson fan. I don't want to say that, but damn, bro, Austin Theory making him his bitch lately.
Austin Theory, yeah, I forgot he might be. Yeah, he's probably.
Yeah, like every time, I thought Finn was gonna win at least with RK, bro. I'm like, he got this. I saw him in the ring together. I'm like, oh shit, he about to lose.
Yeah, Finn's about to lose that title at WrestleMania Backlash.
Like, damn, bro.
That's happening. You gonna have a Austin Theory versus Finn Balor. I like Austin Theory though. I just don't. I
like Austin Theory too, but damn.
I think the Austin Theory thing is like, you need to have some, because I get him winning is supposed to be a heel tactic, but you gotta have some versatility in there. You gotta have some versatility, because I get that he got his comeuppance at WrestleMania from Pat McAfee and Stone Cold, but these aren't consistent wrestlers. These aren't dudes who are just gonna be part of the company. You gotta have Finn get his win back at some point. Because Austin Theory beat him in that 6-man tag, and we forget Finn is the U.S. champion, so it's not a situation where he just like beat some random guy. He beat the U.S. champion.
Yeah,
So
so
what should happen is you do an Austin Theory Finn type of situation, and Finn wins at some point. I don't know if it's the first match or the second match or what, but he just wins at some point.
you know what? Just do a fucking roll up.
Yeah, because I don't want to see Finn on main event. If I see Finn with no title on main event, just chilling, I'd be thinking the whole time like, man, you could just have this dude in NXT right now. But I know if Finn loses the title, I don't know. Like, I feel like the title is what's keeping him relevant. If he loses the title, they're not gonna book him correctly. He's gonna be floating around. He's gonna have a match against freaking what's his name?
Apollo Crews.
Nah, what's his name? The dude that he's always on main event. Shanky. It's gonna be Finn Balor versus Shanky.
Oh, what about to say? Bro, you know what Finn said? He was like, bro, I was trying to go into NXT UK. WWE's like, nah, bro, we need you now. We need you to bring that demon forward with you real quick too. Like, dang.
And it's crazy because they booked Finn. They booked Finn correctly for like 6 months, and then I don't know what happened after that. They booked him correctly when he first came up because he had that feud against Roman. He was challenging for the title. He had the first good couple matches against Sami Zayn and stuff. But then I don't know what happened after the draft. But I don't know if he cussed out somebody or what. But they ain't really done nothing with him since he came to Raw.
What's his name? Strong did. You know what he did? He probably knew he wasn't gonna be called up. I'm not saying he ain't. But he probably knew he wouldn't get called. He's like, hey, let me go to NXT UK. Like, okay. Nigga went to NXT UK challenge for the championship. He like, yeah, at least I get to do this shit. Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
At least I'm on the main spot.
Exactly. Yeah, Roger Strong. Oh, y'all saw that match too. Him and Ilya Dragunov. That was a good match.
Yeah, I was just like, it's Thursday. I'm like, oh, what can I watch? I'm like, oh yeah, NXT UK. Let me try that out. I just saw the main event. I'm like, oh, okay.
You saw what's his name? Walter on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I like that too.
The red on the drip. Oh my god.
So I like the fit. I like the match. I like that he kept the same style. That's what I was really looking out for. I was like, are they gonna have him fight like he's Walter? And I was happy that he did.
Right.
I haven't really got used to the name Gunther. That's why I'm calling him Walter. Same with like Daniel Bryan. I still call Daniel Bryan because Bryan Danielson just kind of sounds like, I don't know. It just doesn't sound right to me.
All right. So I'm gonna do my names, and that is the too many signings.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying. That too many signings. Yeah.
They're only using a certain amount of people on certain storyline. I get to do a rotation sometimes, but damn, bro, I forgot Andrade was main eventing on Dynamite. But I guess that's their rule to do it. Yeah. So they're signing way too many people. Do you think too many factions is a bad thing or no? Okay, it gives them something to do. It gets them to be a part of something.
So this is my thing. I love factions. I love when you can exhaust the idea of factions, but when you have factions that aren't actually factions, that's when it gets bad. Like the Pinnacle never really felt like it was even a faction because everybody just kind of was just individuals.
Right.
Like you never really seen them get involved. I mean, don't get me wrong. What's his name? What's Ty Dillinger's name in AEW?
Shawn Spears.
Shawn Spears. Whenever you see Shawn Spears is always out there for all the MJF and Wardlow's matches. He felt like he was a part of it, but it always felt like it was a three-way thing because you never really seen FTR out there. Right. They kind of were just...
They were doing their own thing.
Yeah, they were doing their own thing, and then Tully was over there with them too, doing their own thing. Like it felt like it was two factions combined into one. So like, if you're having a faction, like I think of a faction like Inner Circle. If you have factions like that, I'm totally fine with it because Inner Circle felt like a faction because they actually were like a cohesive unit, the Elite. Like with the Prime Elite, when it was Kenny and the Young Bucks, like that felt like a faction.
Right.
So like I'm fine with the idea of like having a faction, but just treat it like it's an actual faction. Like Team Taz does not feel like anything.
Gotcha.
It just feels like two random dudes who are thrown together who should be great individuals, and we don't even know what their third member status is.
Right.
So it's kind of like it doesn't really sit right with me. But if you have a faction where it's like everybody's a cohesive unit, they're a faction. Like I know people kind of crapping on them on Twitter and stuff, but the Jericho Appreciation Society, that's a great example of what a faction kind of looks like.
Right.
You got a tag team, you got a muscle, you got a up and coming main eventer or an up and coming mid card guy. You got a main event.
Jay Hager didn't have no choice. Chris Jericho like, what you doing? when they take it like, what you doing? Hey, you better join up, boy. He said, listen, he said, shit, I can't do no without you. He like, hey, you better attack him. I'm like, fuck, all right, fine.
Exactly.
He didn't have no choice.
You know what's funny too? That template works too. Because I mean, I get Jake Hager. I wouldn't say his career is over, but if he was younger, oh man, that template would have worked. Like imagine if you switch out Jake Hager for like Wardlow. Oh my gosh. Because that evolution template just makes sense. Like, that evolution template is what every faction should want to be. You got a main eventer, you got a manager who is a legend, or someone who could, like, help out and run the lines, but also be part of the tag team with the big muscle, and then you got an upper mid-card guy. Like, that's why I love evolution. Like, Randy Orton, Batista, Triple H, and Ric Flair, because they all had a solidified role. And that's why I like the Jericho Appreciation Society, because you got your Randy Orton, and Daniel Garcia. You got the main eventer and Triple H from Chris Jericho. You got the muscle and Jake Hager, and you got the tag team. I like that.
Right.
I think that's cool. I think that's a great way to set up a faction. I like that.
So that's number one. So the factions. I did say the boat-loaded roster, but that's number one. So we were able to tell it and fix it. So. Yeah. So a best example of that will be the Jericho Appreciation Society. I know they're new and stuff. I know, but that's the best thing that's going for right now. A bad example of this is probably the I would say like Dark Order, the Best Friend. Dark Order don't have no direction. Andrade Family Office, I'm not sure. Best Friends, they got too many injuries, and they're separating a bit too. What's her name? Fucking the alien girl. Chris Statlander. Yes. So with her, they're separating with her. She's kind of thick too. I'm not gonna lie. But
like fat, you said like fat or thick?
Like a little thick.
Oh, okay.
Little, I don't know. I just seen it on Rampage one day. I was just like, damn, I didn't even notice it. But she yeah, but she's separating from Best Friends, right? She's separating from Best Friends, and she's getting in a more darker type of role because of legit Layla Hirsch. I like legit Layla Hirsch. I'm not gonna lie. She remind me of that MMA. She remind me of that MMA background, but she's not really MMA background. She just hard hitting. To be honest, I feel like she'll grow. She has the potential to get up more. Okay, so. Chris Jericho, great example of the factions. Too many factions. Some need to go. You know, I seen Best Friends. You know, I don't know if they'll stay together or not, but how it's looking right now, Orange Cassidy injured, and Will Uter breaking all apart from them. So yeah. Okay. Too many rosters, like too much rosters. So the solution that Tony Khan got with this right now is that there are a lot of people in the roster, and they're signing these WWE guys. But with the guys that they're currently having, like Ethan Page, Ricky Starks, like fucking like even I'll even say like the what's that tag team? That fucking tag team, Butcher and the Blade. They even have them. They're with Andrade. So it's like some people you gotta keep it. Some people you just gotta I heard Tony Khan like. You know how Vince McMahon said, "You're fired, you're expired." That's what he does. So I haven't seen what's his name, Marco Stunt. I haven't seen his ass. His ass went to The Voice, Like he been gone. Like it got to the point where you don't even see him on the blog no more. Like on Sammy.
I forgot about him. Is he part of the company anymore?
Nah, I don't think so. I think he's just
Yeah, I
doing
don't
his
think so
own.
either.
I be thinking he part of the company in 1 minute, 1 second. I'm watching GCW, and this man's all over the place. I'm like, yo, where the fuck this man come from?
You know what's funny about AEW? You know what they do a really good job at too?
What?
It's not a good thing, but they do a really good job at hiding releases and when people leave. Like I love how like on the internet people get so mad about it, everything that WWE does, which is not cool. They still shouldn't be releasing people because they're a $1 billion company. But there are tons of people that AEW does nothing with, and they slowly get tread away from the company, but like no one pays attention to it because everybody kind of wants. I mean, for good reason. I think a lot of times people don't pay attention to it is because they want AEW to be looked at as equals to WWE, so WWE increases the um the standard of their product. So what people do is they typically don't like they typically don't talk about the bad stuff that AEW does, but they shine so much negative light on everything WWE does because AEW is such this fresh thing, and they want them to build up to be on the tier of WWE one day.
Right. And to close off on this one, I feel like they're using people like Fergal del Sol, but to like get punished by the whatchamacallit.
There's never gonna be
A thing.
a Fuego del Sol world championship run or a tag team title run
Right.
or anything. He's just gonna just be there to just get beat up.
So yeah, you just gotta use them in a certain way, or you could put them in Ring of Honor. So I guess that will help. They did that with Mercedes Martinez. They put her in Ring of Honor. The fuck the current title holder, pretty much. Um, but yeah. Okay, so it brings me to my next question, which is AEW cannot take criticism. There are some honorable mentions, like for example, there are some honorable mentions. There are some honorable mentions like consistency and only providing certain talent stories over others, like CM Punk, for example. MJF. I get that. That's the big one. But I will say like fucking Keith Lee and Square Scott versus Team Taz is more entertaining than Darby Allen, Jeff Hardy, Sting versus the Andrade family. So I would definitely say that. But I think what they're doing with Jeff Hardy and the Hardys, I think they're doing with them is that they're gonna try to make them face the Young Bucks. I don't know. I think that's what's going on. But yeah, well, I'm trying to say AEW don't know how to fucking take criticism. Well, I'm not gonna say AEW. I can't speak for everybody. Like, damn, bro. But Tony Khan,
It's their fan base and their leadership.
yeah,
They can't take criticism. So like the fan base and like the managerial role, like Tony Khan for instance, like with the whole anti-bot thing or whatever, like people who are criticizing AEW's product or bot accounts and stuff. It's like, bro, like can somebody not crap on your product? And the thing is, I think that's the one thing that's gonna stop AEW from reaching the echelon. Tony Khan needs to stop being so involved in the product.
needs to get
Like
off Twitter. Needs to get off Twitter like Meek Mills.
yeah, I get that Vince McMahon does a lot of things wrong that people don't like. That people don't like the Saudi deals or the releases, but at least he handles himself with a certain level of seriousness. Like
Right.
when Vince McMahon comes around, it's a big deal because it's like you don't see him that often, or you don't even hear about him on Twitter. Like you'll never see somebody say WWE sucks, and then Vince McMahon goes, "Well, you suck." Like you'll never see Vince McMahon do that. He doesn't even acknowledge that stuff.
And the thing is though with the releases, right? I never knew this, right? I didn't know them niggas were still getting paid until Nia Jax said that. They was trying to get Nia Jax to be at the Royal Rumble in 2022, right? And then
Yeah.
John and Lion were trying to like, hey, you trying to come to the room? We're like, no. Why I do that? What I'm already getting paid for? I'm like, you mean to tell me y'all niggas were still getting paid? Y'all just didn't want to get released?
Yeah, that's what happened with WCW. Remember when Vince McMahon bought out WCW, freaking Scott Steiner, Goldberg. Like remember the whole invasion? They didn't have Scott Steiner, they didn't have Goldberg, they didn't have NWO because them dudes was at home chilling, getting paid the entire invasion. they wasn't worried about nothing. And the thing was, like Hogan even said it too. They weren't even getting cuts. They were getting their full paycheck for just sitting at home. Like Hulk Hogan made like $2.5 million in 2001, and he didn't wrestle one match. He didn't wrestle a single match. He just sat at home. Same with Scott Hall. Same with Kevin Nash, Goldberg, Scott Steiner. They just sat at home and waited out their contracts.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, cause I'm watching a video of Mia Yim and shit like that, and I'm just like, I see Keith Lee and them fucking chilling. Like, they ain't worried. They ain't like, they ain't stressing. And you got fucking, what's her name? Tony Storm making 10K off of OnlyFans. I'm like, oh, fuck. God damn, bro. Juice.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my god. But anyway, about the criticism. Like he needs to take lesson from MJF, goddamn it. That nigga gets hate all the time. He needs to take lesson from like Sammy Guevara or Cody Rhodes. He's gonna be like, how do you deal with the hate? Like he needs to man the fuck up and like stop being such a bitch sometimes.
But it's because you got to think the thing with Tony Khan is and I'm with you, I agree with you 100%, but he's not the actual businessman establishment of AEW. That's why he's the way that he is. He's the son of a billionaire. I'm not saying he didn't work to get to where he's at, but he's the son of a billionaire. Vince McMahon kind of built this thing off of what his dad did a little bit, but he took it to the stratosphere because of his business acumen. That's why he doesn't give a damn. He's just kind of like, I'm Vince McMahon. I get to go home and be a billionaire and sleep at night. And I've built this product up to what it is today. And it's one of the most profitable things in the world. Like
Disney wants it. Disney even wants it.
We're signing them $1 billion TV deals and stuff. Like Vince McMahon is not worried about no fat dude with glasses on Twitter saying his product sucks. It don't mean nothing to him.
Right.
Like it's not worth the response, because the thing is, what Vince McMahon probably does is he probably doesn't even have apps on his phone. I'm willing to bet you to the point in his life, probably the past decade or so, he don't got no apps on his phone. He don't got no Instagram, no Twitter, nothing on his phone. For his Twitter account, he has a publicist that probably like, hey, let's put this out there to the public. R.I.P. Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, you were the greatest of all time. He's not typing that. That's somebody else typing that for him. He's not doing nothing, because he doesn't care. It's not part of his job to be on Twitter. Tony Khan treats Twitter like that's his job. Like he needs to respond to that. Like, nigga, focus on promoting people on Dark and Elevation and people like that. Why you focus on some fat dude twiddling his thumbs on Twitter saying your product sucks? You probably did something for him to have that reaction. Let him have that reaction. And if you believe that you did the right thing, then who cares?
I think it was the WrestleMania pressure. He was like, oh shit, Cody Rhodes. Everybody talking about WrestleMania. Damn, I thought I did a good show. You did do a good show, Ring of Honor, but
it's WrestleMania.
It's the Super Bowl of everything.
It's WrestleMania. You can't compete with it. It's like if the WNBA held an All-Star game the same day of the NBA Finals Game 7. What's going to be watched more? The NBA Finals Game 7. That's like WNBA. I can't believe y'all didn't watch our show. Man, of course we did. What are you talking about? Of course we didn't. We got something, a bigger spectacle. Like, dude, the minute, small, tiny fan base that watches Ring of Honor in comparison to WrestleMania is bar none. You got to think, bro. Like, you don't have Logan Paul or Johnny Knoxville showing up at Ring of Honor and having matches on WrestleMania. These dudes are like ginormous spotlight people. You got Gable Stevenson in the crowd. You got Kevin Hart. You got The Rock. You got all these people tweeting about WrestleMania. Like, WWE and people hate it, but this is like the biggest show in town. When they have a giant spectacle event, of course people are going to care more because they've been around longer. They've been around longer, and they have a more profound North American impact. And not even just North America. You probably got people in freaking Saudi Arabia and Asia.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia, Asia, India. That's the one thing I'll say.
Yeah, the Ukraine, Australia, they touching everywhere.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, so AEW, like, they need to, like, expand more on it. See, that's the thing. So with the criticism, right? the criticism like AEW they need to like. Well, I'm not even gonna say AEW because I'm betting you that 80% of these people do not give a fuck about what other people saying unless you're
That's true.
CM
Yeah.
Punk, or Tony Khan. But I'm sorry to say it, but it is true. CM Punk do be complaining sometimes, but
Yeah.
uh, being a little entitled. You got me acting like these female thoughts out here. But what you need to do is that you need to like delete Twitter and don't worry about yourself. This is what we do. This is what spiritual people do in their journeys though too. Like whenever I'm on a spiritual journey, I don't want to see Instagram thoughts and whatever. I either do two things. I go to my girlfriend's house and think about my girl, or I delete Twitter, I delete Instagram. If I wanna really focus on something, then I'll fucking like unplug my game and put it somewhere. I let my brother borrow it. Like literally, like get off Twitter and just focus on yourself, focus on your health, and do not care about what other people say. Like, cause if WWE was to care what other people will say, they would not have laughed this much for decades and decades and decades, especially back in the Attitude Era. Are you kidding me? He needs to stop worrying about what he needs to do. What he should do is just get off Twitter, just focus on your wrestlers, focus on you. Please just focus on you. Just focus on you. Do not be do not be so butthurt or so entitled. Just focus on you. No things will come and just be great. What you should focus on is making this product mainstream. You should focus on making this product mainstream. Like imagine they had MJF as AEW World Championship. He was on NBC doing interviews and shit, talking about the product and everything. That will raise your bro up, and then you can eventually hit 2 million views in the ratings. And you need to bring in new fans. You can't just focus on your current fan base or your hardcore fan base. You can focus on them, but you also want to bring in casual fans. I'm not saying go full WWE, but try to bring in somebody. Like I remember Cody Rhodes trying to bring in Snoop Dogg or Shaq. I seen that
Yeah.
direction. I was like, oh my god. I was at first I was like but at the same time, if you think about it, if you like open your third fucking eye, like or let me say this in a more simple way. If you think more simply, or if you think deeply about it in a business perspective and not just in a fan's perspective, then you'll be like, oh, okay, so this is how they're gonna make more money and build more people and bring more people out here. Like, if they could have brought like Jake Paul potentially to AEW, which I know they have the money for, unless again it's that boldy ass roster that they got, then they could have done that, right? And they need to expand more. They need to go to the UK, have a show in the UK and in Canada, because people have been talking about that since 2019. They wanted a show in Canada for the longest. They need to focus on expanding there more. I know the pandemic is not everything. The pandemic is not yet clear, but I feel like they can at least try to go to Canada and try to go to like California shows and stuff like that too. Stop going to the same places like Texas for the past 3 weeks. Otherwise, it'll make it valuable. When I was watching their show in Boston, the fans were going nuts, and I'm like, why are they going so crazy? And I'm like, oh, cause it's in Boston, and Boston probably had a show in like maybe like 6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, but when you go to Texas, like, oh yeah, I can go like 2 weeks. I'll work my 10 hours. It's not something to like take off work for type shit.
Don't
So
forget Chicago too. They really be wearing out Chicago too.
they be wearing the fuck out of Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago, Texas, Florida. They be wearing that out.
Yeah, they be trying to go over there.
Anytime they feel like something getting dry, they like, you know what, let's go to Chicago. But that's one thing that WWE did do. That's like people give them crap for because they call it Bizarro Land and stuff like that. I will say, man, that Chicago fan base is legitimately Bizarro Land. Like some of the reactions that those crowds be having to stuff is absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. And that speaking of ridiculous, I don't know if you watched NXT 2.0 or whatever. The past Wednesday, I had to go back and watch it because I heard a lot of fanfare about it. That was, man, did you hear that crowd?
What happened?
were terrible. They were legitimately awful.
They were entitled.
Like, they were being like such douchebags. Braun Breaker was in the ring cutting a promo as the new champion, and he said he was in there talking about some sentimental stuff like, I won this title for my dad, and now he was almost like he was about to cry. My dad and my uncle got to see me wrestle on Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, and then it was a pause, and then some dude in the front row started saying, "You're my champion," and I was like, "Oh, that's what's up." And then they were like, "You're my champion," and you hear like a giant group to the right going, "Not my champion," like yelling and stuff, and I'm like, and NXT is super small and tight too, so you can hear everything. Like, people are yelling, and then Tony D'Angelo comes out and he's cutting a little promo about being the dawn of NXT, and they keep saying same old boring, and it's super loud, and I'm like, bro, I cannot watch this. It's unwatchable. I can't watch this. This is awful. And
it's not awful. It's the fans that are awful.
No, I know. I'm saying the fans are terrible. And the thing was, the only time there was a semblance of people having common sense. I'm gonna let you take a guess. What moment throughout the show do you think people actually started having common sense?
What's her name?
It was one moment, huh?
What's her fucking name? I can only think of two people that can really do that shit, and that's Cameron Grimes and that thick ass white girl.
No, they were actually terrible to Cameron Grimes too.
Oh my god! What about Nikita?
That's what it was, Nikita. When she had that match, that was the only time the fans were into it the entire show. When she hit that, I think she did like a split, or she did a split pin on the girl or whatever.
The thick. I call it the thick split.
The thick split. The crowd started going crazy, like positively crazy, not in a bad way. Cameron Grimes couldn't even get them over. Cameron Grimes made his first appearance as NXT North American champion, and they're chanting boring. I'm like, bro, this is Cameron Grimes, dude. He's like one of the most entertaining dudes. What did he do? They over here booing Solo Sikoa when he comes out too.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
I can't watch this, bro.
How y'all gonna boo Sikoa? Y'all was like, ooh, so every fucking week.
I can't watch it. It literally made it so unwatchable. And then the Gunther and Braun Breaker main event. Oh man, it got turned up to 11. I couldn't even watch it. I was just like, bro, this is ridiculous, bro. Like, y'all are legit booing this dude, and he did nothing to get booed. Nothing.
They boo Gunther or they boo Braun Breaker?
You know, they ain't boo Gunther. They boo Braun Breaker. They ain't boo Gunther. They were chanting Walter, though. They were chanting Walter super duper loud, though.
Oh my god.
And then, yeah, but the Nikita thing, that was the only time throughout because I honestly, like, I heard of Lash Legend and Nikita before, but I mean, I told you before, like, with like my religion and stuff, I don't look at women and lust for them because they're thick or they're pretty or stuff like that. So that's not really my thing. But I think that's kind of shallow and super super terrible for you to just boo an entire show with performers who are out there putting their hearts out there and not really giving them a chance, but you're cheering brand new spanking new WWE talent just because they're thick and they look good. I don't think that's cool.
You know what somebody said?
What?
Don't let the smart mark spin the narrative. They're not real WWE fans or NXT 2.0 fans. They are the same fan who defend Dante Martin for getting a random title shot at Adam Page, and they don't think Powerhouse Hobbs been buried on AEW TV, even though he loses every time, and they don't even complain about it. Jay Lethal loses all his AEW TV matches so far. Gunther had a great match with Braun Breaker last night and hasn't lost in a one-on-one match in 2.0 ever since leaving the UK before Braun beat him. So what's the problem? He shouldn't be beating Braun right now. Are you crazy? Please help. Y'all acting like Gunther is Goldberg. He's very beatable. He struggled against a 5'7" Tyler Bay, GTFOH. He's not beatable. Only thing let me finish. Only thing I didn't like that night was the possible breakup of the Imperium because they're my favorite tag team in WWE.
And that's great. That's great that he said the only thing I didn't like because it was Like, that's what I was sitting there watching. I actually enjoyed the show. It wasn't a bad show, but it was the crowd involvement that just wasn't doing it for me. Like the Braun Breaker and Gunther match, like you said, that match was great, and it made perfect sense because he lost and teleported to the main roster, like everybody in NXT does.
Yeah.
Everybody in NXT
Even
does
Matt
that.
Riddle. Even Matt Riddle.
Everybody does that. Remember Ricochet and Aleister Black when they lost to the War Raiders? They went straight to the main roster right after. Ciampa has been on up the past couple. He's going to be a full-time main roster competitor. Like, these dudes lose and go out on their back, and then they lose, go out on their back, and then they go to the main roster. That's how that works. That's the weight of the world. Like, dude. And the thing is, it isn't like, and that's the thing, too. See, I can see if people got mad and they're like, Gunther has never lost before. If that was the first time he ever lost, I could see someone getting mad about that. But it's not like he's never lost before. He just lost to Ilya Dragunov last year. He lost to Dragunov. He lost to Dragunov in a 6-man tag match. He lost. He didn't lose to. He didn't lose to Tyler Bate, did he?
No. He was struggling to beat him. I remember you even said that to me. You said he's very beatable, but like he looked very beatable. He's not like Brock Lesnar, but he looked very beatable.
I think Gunther was the best. I think honestly that might be a hot take. I think Gunther has been the best booked champion that WWE has ever had.
Yeah.
We're not ever had, but in the past like decade, ever since like from what I can remember. Because you gotta think, there's a certain thing about a champion. They have an aura of dominance and presentation, like Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. But the level of vulnerability that Walter has when he's in a really, really good match is like unparalleled. Because at any given moment, you think he could lose. Like, you realistically think that he could lose, but he's also dominant enough where he could sway your opinion into him winning. So it's like, I love that. Like, that's the problem with, like, prime Brock Lesnar when he was the Universal Champion, is that you were kind of just waiting on him to win because he's not going to lose. And it's like, same with Roman Reigns now. It sucks, too, because he's putting people over in the right direction, like with the Cesaro feud. Like, I love that whole Cesaro feud because Cesaro was going nuts every single week on the Usos. He was going crazy on him. He was going crazy on Roman Reigns, too. He was helping out Daniel Bryan. They were in this big, big feud, and I loved it. But at the end of the day, you know the result. Like, Walter against Tyler Bate, that's a toss-up. Just because of what we've seen of Tyler Bate. Walter versus Pete Dunne, that's a toss-up. Walter versus Dragunov, that's a toss-up. And Walter maintained that same level of dominance and was still over with the fans and held the title for almost 2 years. That's insane.
Right.
Like, nobody holds it. Like, he had the UK title longer than Roman Reigns has had these titles. Or longer than Roman Reigns had the Universal Championship.
Yeah, that man had that shit for like 2 years.
Yeah. Roman Reigns creeping up on that. So if he holds it, I think if he holds the Universal Championship until September 1st, it'll be 2 years.
Right.
Oh. He wanted that the payback after SummerSlam when he came back in 2020.
Yeah, I didn't waste no time with that. I totally forgot about that. And another thing, there are people that are complaining about Butch, about now I know about the name changes, but I figured out the reason why they do that. And okay, damn, this is an AEW video, but I'm just gonna put this last part in there, and then I'm gonna end the recording. But with Butch, right? Butch, like they're like, oh, like why you change his name? Why you change everything? Butch is looking great. You seen that match he had with fucking Xavier with him and was dominating the whole match. And the main reason why they change people's names is so like let's say for example your ass get fired, right, from WWE, right? You still got your name. You either change your name or you give your name to WWE so they can make a fortune off of it. It's a business at the end of the day. People like Butch. Butch is just simple, and he look like a Butch too.
So I'll do the pro and the con with that. So I like that argument, but I think the biggest issue with the name change is the lack of effort. Because I get the name Pete Dunne, you're doing it for the sake of business. Okay, I'm fine with you changing the name for the sake of business, but just give me a name that makes somewhat a little bit of sense. Like, you went from Pete Dunne, which isn't a fantastic name, but it's still a good name, to this Butch, you know, or like it's like for me
It goes well with his feud with like with I don't know if you know the terms in England and stuff like that, but it goes well with his name because of the group that he's currently with. At least he's getting
no,
pushed on SmackDown, so
I get it. I get it. I just don't. I mean, I can get it and still not like it. I don't like it. I don't like the name Butch. I really don't. It doesn't really scream
it
like.
it don't stream main event, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't. You'll never hear Butch winning a title with that name. It's Butch.
Yeah,
It's Butch. It's
I
nothing.
mean,
It's nothing complex. And the thing is, I don't have a problem with the one word thing because you have one word names that are dominant, like Sheamus. Like you hear that name, it's strong. Sheamus, like Ricochet. These are great names. Like
oh, you're
Sheamus.
talking about the name in general, not the value that you put behind it.
Actually, the name Butch, I don't. It just doesn't do anything. I think of all the great historical champions: The Rock, Stone Cold, The Undertaker, Triple H. Like these are great names. Shawn Michaels, Butch. It doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't get anything.
I think it's just for that, just for right now. So we gotta see how it's doing right now, and then they might change it down the line if necessary.
I'll give it a chance. I try to give everything a chance until proven otherwise. I'm not that guy. Like I watched this podcast of they call Steven Larson. I watch them from time to time, and they talk. And Steve is like me. He's optimistic and he gives everything a chance. Larson just immediately craps on everything if it's not AEW related. So when someone comes up to the main roster and there's something different about them, he doesn't focus on the positives. He just immediately goes to the negatives. Like, he's the type of guy that he'll watch Gunther's debut and then be like, well, why was Marcel Bartel announcing that he came out? Like, he won't focus on anything else except the bad stuff. So it's like, I try to give everything a chance. Like, I give everything a chance. Like, when I watch SmackDown, I heard people complaining about it. I like SmackDown. SmackDown was a good show. I didn't see a whole lot wrong with SmackDown.
And the thing is, though, people need to just understand this. Like, bro, like, things are gonna happen for a fucking reason. And oh fuck, I forgot. I want to add something to that, but the thing is, though, people at the end of the day, it's a business, so they gotta keep names. They gotta do certain stuff. They gotta do certain trademarks and stuff just to make it more valuable later in the future. And another thing, Cody Rhodes was like memeing about that shit, and now he in WWE. I bet he had to been sorry. He like, okay, bro, I'm about to glue the chair back up. I'm about to apologize to Gunther. You know, all that stuff. So you gotta think about what Cody said too. But yeah. Alright, I'm gonna okay, let me just end this recording. Alright, thank you guys so much. We're literally do you have time, Malik, to do the next video right now?
For what?
The problem with WWE.
Yeah, we can.
Alright. Yeah, cause this shit was like an hour and 12 minutes. We was talking all other shit too. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys watch this. Oh my god, this is so long. It's like a podcast at this point. But thank you guys so much. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. We're about to literally do the WWE net, so stay tuned.